I've heard you can take what's broken and make it whole again. Well, here's the pieces of my heart. What can you do with them? 'Cause I can't hold them all together anymore. So I let them fall, surrendered to the floor. You make all things new. You make all things new. Oh, God of mercy and love, do what only you can do, and make all things new.
Keys to Freedom Ministries is a community jail ministry, and it's a community jail ministry because what we do with the community. We focus on integrating people when they come out of jail, come out of incarceration or prison even. We want to incorporate them back into the community that they came from, and we want the community to welcome them back through the resources that they have as well.
One thing that I've always appreciated with Keys to Freedom is their ability to work with other providers who are in our jail. We have other organizations who come in and provide life skills, substance use counseling, organizations like AA or NA. In Keys to Freedom, I have found, like many of the other organizations, they have a passion for what they do, but they're able to work together. And they understand that in our jail we have the role of maintaining the security and the safety for staff and incarcerated, but they allow us to take these the care to the inmates to a different level and work with all the other providers.
I was introduced to Keys to Freedom in 2019. I was incarcerated for my third offense, drunk driving. I suffer from anxiety, so there's a mental health disorder as well. And I told her that I needed help and that I was either going to end up dead or in prison. When I was in jail, I didn't have anyone. My using had gotten so bad that I really didn't, there was nobody left. And the people that were left, I was too ashamed to ask them for anything, for any money, for, things that I needed in jail or to ask for anything, so I didn't have any support. Tina from Keys to Freedom come through with the book cart, and she would actually listen to me, and I actually, when I was in jail, I needed glasses because I had contacts in that were about to fail, and I wasn't going to be able to see. And at that time, I was facing 2 to 5 years in prison, and so I'm like, oh my God, I don't have anyone to help me. No one's going to help me get glasses, and Tina did. Tina came through and got me glasses when I was incarcerated. When I got out, I knew that I wasn't going to be strong enough to go back to my old living environment. So she came and picked me up from treatment, as she took me to treatment as well, and got me into Jamie's Cottage through Keys to Freedom, and it really helped me. It gave me a foundation to start my journey in recovery, and without that, I don't know that I would have made it, because getting out of treatment, you're just so vulnerable, and it's so easy to get back into your old behaviors and routines and old people, old friends and stuff. And that was another thing that really helped me in Jamie's Cottage, to be with other recovering addicts. And and there was we did a Bible study, and I never really knew much about the Bible. I'm having fun in recovery, and I'm just learning how to be myself, and learning how to live, because I didn't know how to without drugs and alcohol before. And it's a new life, and I'm proud to be in recovery, and I'm proud to be where I'm at.
I got introduced to Keys to Freedom when my previous housing situation was falling apart, and I wasn't getting the support that I needed. So my pastor and good friend of mine, Tim Manzer, turned me on to Keys to Freedom. Mentally, I was very discouraged and burnt out. I had just gone through so much with my family and losing my kids and stuff that I felt alienated by the previous sober living place. And, you know, I was left with nowhere else to go and get really young in my recovery. And so I really needed help and reached out to help. So it wasn't until my pastor friend recognized the need, and just mere coincidence happens to be on the board here at Keys to Freedom, suggested the place, introduced me to Tina and Michelle, and they accepted me. They have provided me with continuing growth and knowledge and building my confidence, changing the person who I am, who I was, and the fact that I don't need to be that anymore, that I can be bigger and better and work towards my potential, both as a person in recovery and as a mom, which is very important to me. Keys to Freedom and living at Jamie's Cottage has given me the opportunity to start over and build myself back up, both as a person in recovery and as a mom, like I said before. You've continued to grow and learn to be more responsible adult, keeping my recovery as the priority, but realizing that the harder I work and trust in Tina and Michelle and the program that they have, the further along I'll be. And I'm at a point now in my life where I'm starting to really notice that the change in myself and starting to feel better about things.
Labor Day weekend, 2016, I decided to drink. It was a cool, brisk morning, early. I see red and blue lights in my rearview mirror. I pull over. I couldn't walk a straight line to save my life. Ma'am, turn around and put your hands behind your back. Right then I heard my higher power tell me, you're gonna be okay. I felt that cold piece of metal hit my left wrist, and then on my right, and my knees just went weak. I went black after that. That's where I found Keys to Freedom. That's where I got my first Bible. And that's when I knew that my life had changed. I didn't have God in my life before, but I did then. And Tina would talk to me for the short amount of time that we had, but she gave me hope. She made me feel loved. She gave me courage to keep it moving forward. So I knew that every time she came around, I could have that short conversation to give me hope to keep moving forward. I was offered a safe place to live from Kathleen and Dan, part of Keys to Freedom. I was given a van to continue working. In 2018, Keys to Freedom comes to me, offering me to be part of their putting together a women's recovery home. I graduate sobriety court April of 2019. I was reunited with my son, still working on my relationship with my daughter. After graduation from sobriety court, I took some classes to be a recovery coach, because everything that was given to me, I wanted to give back free to other women. Today, I'm a graduate of sobriety court. I'm a certified recovery coach. I am affiliated with Keys to Freedom Ministries as the house manager for Jamie's Cottage and mentor for the ladies that live there. I'm an advocate to break the stigma of substance use disorder, and I've been brought on board to be 86th District Sobriety Court recovery coach and team member. I'm honored because from my experience, I can honestly say when I'm talking to them, I know how you feel. Maybe not their specific situation, but I've been that addict suffering. I've been in that dark place. I've had to fight for where I am so I can give back to them the compassion that they need inside. I can give them the hope that I needed talking to somebody.
So I went to jail and was offered sobriety court, and in order to complete that program, I knew I had to take steps to make the right decisions, to set up the right structure for me to be able to be successful and complete it. So by doing that, I decided to completely change everything and start out with Keys to Freedom and move into their house to have the opportunity to start fresh. Since moving to that house, what's changed is I was able to gain my independence. I was able to stay sober and have those resources that were closely knitted to me from the women that were there. They provided support. I was able to get a full-time job, remain sober, and go to meetings and meet other women in the community. One of the biggest things that Keys to Freedom has done to help support me in my journey is they have continued to keep that relationship with me and help support me. If it wasn't for them in the beginning, I don't think that I would be where I am today. There was physical support and spiritual support and just gaining connections with other women and other people in recovery in the community to help me excel in my sobriety and become successful in that manner. I'm still sober today because of that. There were times during the beginning of my recovery where I felt weak and they helped pick me up. There were times such as Christmas where, you don't have your family with you because you're focusing on your recovery. So the ladies had made sure, they got my daughter presents, and there was people that came and seen me during the holidays. They had made sure that I got into. There was also times where I got a new job and they helped give me rides to work, made sure I got home. There was just resources there that I could have found without them.
So the biggest piece of this for me on my journey is that I was able to gain full legal custody of my daughter. I didn't think it was possible. At first it was really hard, and this program has continuously blessed me. I have full custody of my daughter. I'm a single mom and I'm doing it. I work a full-time job and I'm just able to provide for her, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually, and just be the mother that I always wanted to be, and I'm so grateful.
Sometimes the stories we get are sad. We had an inmate, his name was Joey. The first time he was in jail, probably 5 years ago, he was a butthead. He was one of the worst of the worst. He caused all kinds of problems in the cells. And this last time he was here, about a year ago, he changed his ways a little bit. He kind of got to a point in the jail where he made into a inmate worker program, and was moving up through the programs, getting a little more privileges in the jail. All the officers had made a connection with him. He was likable. He was an inmate worker out talking with us and joking. We all knew when he was getting out. I come to find out that the mentor was there that morning, but also one of his friends or cousins was there, and he chose to go with his friend and cousin. About 3 or 4 days later, we found out that he had overdosed, and that was a hard one for me as a sergeant at the time, and the officers that had made a connection with him and really thought he had a chance. They were upset too. I mean, across the board, anyone who knew him knew he was full of life, and we expected the best from him, and he didn't have that connection on the way out because he chose not to take it. Keys for Freedom definitely was where they needed to be at that time. They fought for him, and unfortunately he chose the wrong path. But I'm thankful that I was part of it to have that available for him. And the more we can make those kind of programs available to the people on the way out, the better the community will be and the better each individual family will be.
So why would somebody want to invest financially into Keys to Freedom Ministries? Like many organizations, Keys to Freedom Ministries has organizational challenges. We have a ministry center, we have a recovery home, we have staff, and that takes financial support. As much as we have so many wonderful, heart-filled volunteers that have their stories that they bring into our ministry to help others, we also have to have paid staff. And we are really looking to add another staff member to help with the organizational challenges that we have.